5. Fibonacci. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see the number 5 all over the place, particularly in nature, but also you see the pentagram pointing one point up is the symbol of life. 2 points up, 1 point down is the opposite. And so whenever you see this pentagram, it's the symbol of life. And just like anything, these symbols are used for the positive and for the negative. So when you look at the pentagram pointing up, most people would relate that to positive life force. When it's 2 points up, 1 down, facing down, inverted, people relate that to Satanism. But it isn't related to Satanism. It's just another way of looking at the symbolism. If you look at the 5-pointed star facing up, which is indicative of positive energy, man, it's indicative of man. Then when you see it facing down, what can we say? It's indicative of non-man. It's indicative of the Antichrist, the opposite, negative energy. Could be. But if you look into Satanism, it doesn't mean that. If you listen to Satanists or ex-Satanists, then what they will say about this inverted pentagram is that the way in which we've been taught is wrong. And so if you look at all the information we've been taught and you turn that upside down, inside out, you'll be closer to the truth. And this is another one of the paradoxes, you see. All of our lives we're told that the regular pentagram is positive and the inverted one is negative. But you see, religion is negative, truth is positive. Religion is a lie. And so if you invert religion, you'll be closer to the truth. If you turn it upside down, you'll be closer to the truth. And so that's what this inverted pentagram means. It isn't evil, it's just what is. And so you can see how everything's a lie that we have in the mainstream. We've been so bound by these untruths, and we've been steered away from the Antichrist and from the devil and from the inverted pentagram, because that's all conjuring and dealing with demons. It's dealing with a reality, with a far greater semblance of reality in this non-reality. And you see, if you delve into conjuring and magic and all these sort of things, then granted you do get into the realm of spirits, good and bad. But isn't that truth? Believing in this Almighty, the overseer of good and evil, and with the 10 Commandments and all the criteria that we should abide by, I think that if there was a God, he would have given us freedom of choice. And the freedom of choice is being able to choose whatever we want, whether it's deemed to be good or whether it's deemed to be bad. Why should this all-powerful and all-knowing and all-loving God impose such strict criteria upon us and tell us that there's only one way that we should live our lives? It's all a choice. It's all down to choice. Some people can accept the regular pentagram as a symbol of positivity. Other people will deem the inverted pentagram to be a symbol of positivity because of what I've spoken about prior. It's the revelation of more information rather than just dogma, you see. And so this is the whole thing with the serpent in the Garden of Eden, enticing Eve to take a bite of the apple, giving her the choice of staying blind or opening her eyes. And then of course when she took the bite, then she offered it to Adam, and they both took the bite. And so now, for those of you whom have took the bite, let's have a look at the apple. It's a metaphor, isn't it? A metaphor for what? Can we say for psychedelics? The fruits of the forest, the fruits of the world, forbidden fruit. Look at what's happening now in our society. Psilocybin, DMT, any number of these entheogens, the sort of thing that enables you to have a religious experience. But we're not allowed to do that. They don't want us to have a religious experience. They don't want us to have our eyes opened to a broader reality, because then we can choose, can't we? We can choose what seems more real to us. The dogma in the Bible and all the rules and regulations that society impose on us via these religions, or the choice of adhering to or not the information which these entheogens give us. And what they give us is a certain reality and truth about the so-called self. What they tell us is that this is God. This thing that's thinking is God. And if the thing that's thinking is God, then surely God wants you to think. Which is the inverted pentagram when you look at religion, isn't it? So what's happening there? Even what they say is actually in the obverse, because they're pretending that this is the only knowledge you need, and this is where you're going to find God and the truth as to what you are. You're all God's children, la-di-da-di-da. But if you don't turn this pentagram upside down or invert it and look at it from that perspective, you'll never know truth. Many of my videos, I'm talking about the paradox, and I'm talking about the non-truth, and I'm talking about the misinformation and disinformation, and everywhere you look you can see it. In society, in language, with what we've been taught by fellow human beings, apparently. But if we should delve into entheogens, then we will see far more than just the human being. We will see a whole broad spectrum of what is, and albeit some of it isn't so conducive to our ego because we're afraid of it. But when we diminish the ego, then there's no ego to be afraid anymore, and then we just have awareness about it, you see. And so this awareness really is what we should be aiming for. As much awareness about this life, this cosmos, this consciousness as we can. Because when we gain this knowledge and wisdom, then we're on our road to ascension. We are on our road to being omniscient, all-knowing, as far as we can know in this hologram, paradigm, simulation, dream. The acquisition of knowledge. Fear none of it. Fear no knowledge. It's only knowledge. When you are equipped with a lot of knowledge, then you can make more choices. And your eye is open to all of the stuff that's going on around you. And that can't be a bad thing for those that don't live in fear. For those of us that have the design and desire for this level of discovery. So the next time you see a flower, have a look to see how many petals it's got. And the vast majority of the time, you'll see it will have 5. And then when you look inside, you'll see that there'll be another 5 in there. And then if you look a little bit closer, you'll see there'll be another 5. And if you cut fruit in half, then within those fruits, you'll also see a Fibonacci number. And this Fibonacci, the golden ratio, and the Fibonacci sequence is all around. We could say that that is God. It's all around in every living thing. The language of God.